Well, we're in a new spot because it's too windy in my other spot. So one thing I wanted to talk to you about before we get into the video is my last video. I had a commenter say that people in the U.S. were too darn lazy or just didn't want to change their lifestyle for climate change. So they believe that there is no such thing as climate change or anything like that, so that they don't have to change their ways, have to practice good environmental policies with their own life to help change the dire straits the climate is in. And I agree with that I can't find anybody that's willing to drive less or eat more on the vegetarian side or any of that. They're just not willing to do it. And I said, even if a tornado came and tore up your house, I said, no, wouldn't change it then either. Because that's just an act that comes around every once in a while, and there's nothing you can do about it. So really, I'm basically wasting my time with the U.S. audience, and I know that. But there are some out there that are on this channel that have changed their ways, and so I'll continue to put out the videos, even though I know that it's a hopeless case as far as USans go in most cases. So let's get on with the video. Fossil fuel companies from Exxon to Gazprom to Aramco planning to operate nearly 200 massive oil and gas projects that could unleash 646 billion tons of CO2 emissions in the atmosphere. Now these are projects that are on the books, ready to go, or have already been done. This will doom efforts to rein in planetary warming. Scientists warn that fossil fuel use must be quickly phased out to prevent catastrophic climate outcomes. Around 60% of the projects are already producing oil and gas. So we're sort of late on this subject, but I thought I'd put it out there anyway. A huge North Field gas field in Qatar is the biggest oil and gas carbon bomb in the world. So they're the ones that are going to be causing the most damage to the world. The U.S. is the leading source of potential emissions with 22 new developments in the works. Okay, the U.S. is the leading source of potential emissions with 22 new developments. This includes conventional drilling, fracking, and drilling the deep waters of the Gulf of Mexico in the works. Biden, you need to stop this. This will emit 140 billion tons of CO2 if this project goes through. And of course, it'll go through because it's already planned. And a lot of them have already been okayed. But unfortunately, the people in the U.S. don't believe in climate change. So why in the hell would they stop any gas developments, any gas and oil developments in the works? The scientists tell us that we must stop now. We must cut back all of this nonsense, almost all the way completely, to stave off catastrophic climate change. But unfortunately for us, that's going to be the situation because nobody's going to cut back any of these multi-billion-dollar projects because the big CEOs and all are going to make huge amounts of money. So it's up to every single human on the planet to cut back their fossil fuel use so that fossil fuel becomes something that they used to do and become more in the friendly way of using electric vehicles such as skateboards, scooters, bicycles, and motorcycles. These are all done in electric now and will cost hardly anything to run compared to fossil fuels. Now, there's no other choices other than our feet to get around, other than public transportation. And unfortunately, here in the U.S., we're a car culture, not a public transportation culture, like the way it is in Europe. We refuse to use public transportation because it's considered a resource for the poor and not for the well-off or the drivers of the world. So that's why people don't take public transportation here in the U.S. very often, and why it's so poorly funded and put into service. We don't even have a single high-speed train yet here in the U.S., and I sort of doubt we'll ever get one for any time in the next 50 years or so. At least one that's really worth a damn. Now they may put one in here in California, but it's between like Stockton and Sacramento, or Sacramento and Los Angeles. And how many people really go to Sacramento? It's not really, if it was between San Francisco and Los Angeles, you might get some people taking the train, but more than likely not. They'd prefer to drive in their car and sit in traffic all day than to take public transportation. So there you have it. Humans don't want to change their lifestyle whatsoever to stave off climate change, and they don't see it coming. They're too busy doing their thing to even notice that the climate has really changed much. Because really, how many people go outside much or even see what's happening outside? How many have ever gone out when it's raining with an umbrella to see what the world's like from when they were a child, to see how much change there's been? Not many at all. Just enough to count on your one hand. So with that, I certainly do appreciate you guys watching the videos and putting your thumbs up and thumbs down, and your new subscribers to keep up with what's happening with climate change. And until next time.